Hello again. I'm sure most of you have already heard and seen, but I'll give a brief overview anyway. I just want to talk about what's been happening recently in the American universities, specifically the congressional meeting with the heads of Penn State, Harvard, and MIT. Now these are three very, 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 very prestigious universities. For people in the UK, that's the equivalent of, say, Oxford and Cambridge, who, if you're not already aware, these are right up there as the top leading institutions of learning, or supposed to be. Now, going slightly off topic a bit, obviously there are a lot of people, myself included, who for many years have been saying that the universities are completely lost institutions, and the overwhelming majority of the issues that we're seeing in society and the actual fracturing of social lines has been coming out of various university departments. Now, obviously I'm an Englishman, and people may be asking, Dave, why would you care about what's happening in American universities? Well, it's part of a thinking that I have, and I do believe that there are far more learned scholars than myself, being just a layman, who would also back this up, that there are two types of people who are citizens of somewhere and citizens of nowhere. And I'm a citizen of somewhere. I know exactly who I am, where I'm from, and the community I'm a part of, and that's where I want to die. There are citizens of nowhere you tend to find in metropolitan cities. They're just as home as in London, Paris, Berlin, New York, Sydney, Hong Kong. They don't care. They will quite happily live in any of those and move from one to the other with zero loyalty to any of the places where they're actually living. And a lot of these people go to these sorts of universities and end up working in them. They're quite incestuous with the staff, these universities. Professors go from one to the other and cycle through them. And I do think there's a sort of in-group university groupthink has started to be created, especially with at least in American universities, that I believe it's 9 out of 10 university professors identify as being left-wing politically. And when we say left-wing, I don't mean like sort of soft conservative or what you might call hard right Labour. We're talking Jeremy Corbyn supporting left-wing. These are hammer and sickle, waving Che Guevara, celebrating unironic Soviet Union Stalinists. Dangerous people, in my opinion, and they make up the majority of lecturers and faculty staff. And these people are supposed to be teaching future generations, and it's, in my opinion, more like indoctrination. I'll do a video later going more into this, and I want to link it into other stuff later, what I want to talk about tonight. But it's when you have these sorts of people running these institutions, is it really any surprise that we're seeing the antisemitism being allowed to run rampant in these universities and then spilling out onto our streets in the form of these large-scale protests? And why they're so well organised as well, because a lot of these protests that we've seen, like with Palestine, they're not as spontaneous as people think. You don't get, say, 200,000 to 500,000 people protesting from spontaneously. That's a lot of that is linked via groups. A lot of these groups are formed in universities, and they leave, but they don't leave the groups. They stay in contact. Or go on to become professional protesters, some of them as well. That was the case with a lot of fracking protesters at Blackpool. A lot of those people were paid, and I believe when I was in Samlesbury yesterday, there was a bunch of Palestine protesters trying to block the entryway to BAE Systems. I believe at Samlesbury they do Eurofighter and other aircraft parts. And I believe a lot of those protesters were paid. I have no evidence to back that up, but I do get this feeling that without how they're able to freely protest as often as they do, I do believe that they are sponsored to be there. But anyway, back to my point. Yeah, so with the prevalence that we're seeing of anti-Semitism, and I will share the link to the highlights of the hearing below. Please do watch that, and then look at the responses of these heads of these institutions, and then look at what's happening with the states of our countries, and the types of people that are being created and protesting, and why maybe our young people are coming out of university is absolutely insane. Thank you for now. If you've enjoyed this video and it's given you something to think about, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Thank you. Goodbye.